Today, we are diving into the life of one of America's most complex and consequential presidents, Woodrow Wilson. You might know him as the president who led the U.S. through World War I, but there's so much more to his story. So grab your notebooks, get comfortable, and let's uncover some fascinating facts about the 28th U.S. president. First off, did you know that Woodrow Wilson is the only U.S. president to hold a Ph.D.? That's right, before he was a politician, he was a distinguished academic. He earned his doctorate in political science and history from Johns Hopkins University. He even served as the president of Princeton University before he ever set foot in the White House. This academic background heavily influenced his political philosophy, shaping his views on government and democracy. It's pretty rare to see a career path go from professor to president, but Wilson made it happen. Now, let's talk about his childhood. Wilson was born in Virginia in 1856, and his early life was deeply marked by the Civil War and its aftermath. Growing up in the South during Reconstruction gave him a unique perspective that he carried with him throughout his life. Interestingly, he didn't learn to read until he was about 10 years old, possibly due to dyslexia. Despite this late start, he developed a deep love for literature and oratory, becoming one of the most powerful speakers of his era. When Wilson became president in 1913, he launched an ambitious domestic agenda called the New Freedom. This wasn't just a catchy slogan, it led to some major changes. He oversaw the creation of the Federal Reserve System, which still manages the nation's money supply today. He also signed the Clayton Antitrust Act and established the Federal Trade Commission to fight unfair business practices and protect consumers. These reforms fundamentally reshaped the American economy and the role of the federal government in it. Of course, you can't talk about Wilson without mentioning World War I. For the first few years of the war, he kept the United States neutral, winning re-election in 1916 with the slogan, "He kept us out of war." But circumstances changed, and in 1917, he famously declared that the world must be made safe for democracy, leading the U.S. into the conflict. His leadership during the war was pivotal, but his vision for the post-war world was even more ambitious. This brings us to his famous 14 points, a blueprint for lasting peace after the war. The centerpiece of this plan was the creation of a League of Nations, an international organization where countries could resolve disputes without resorting to conflict. He fought tirelessly for its creation, even traveling to Paris for the peace conference. However, in a twist of irony, the U.S. Senate ultimately refused to ratify the treaty and join the League of Nations. It was a devastating political defeat for Wilson, who had suffered a severe stroke while campaigning for public support. Despite its initial failure in the U.S., the idea behind the League of Nations laid the groundwork for what would later become the United Nations. Woodrow Wilson's presidency was a time of immense change and contradiction. He was a progressive reformer who also oversaw the segregation of federal workplaces. He was a global visionary whose grandest project was rejected by his own country. His legacy is one of the most debated among historians, and that's what makes him so endlessly fascinating. What do you think is Wilson's most significant legacy? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading your perspectives. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more historical stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.